So as a rule of thumb in this industry, when you're looking at performance of a fund, generally speaking, the charges intrinsic within that fund are disclosed within the performance. So at the very bottom there, it's telling me on my analytics chart that this fund, Emerging Markets Equity SEAC, has achieved 74% over 5 years. And again, I can be rest assured that the charges associated with that share class are indeed within the performance series of the fund, and therefore the figure at the bottom is indeed net. Now, there are subtle nuances and exceptions to every rule in this industry, but again, more often than not, the performance figures will indeed be net of the underlying fund charge. Now, something else to consider when we're talking about charges intrinsic within a fund is what if I'm looking at a model portfolio solution. Now, many of you will know we've got our MPS directory on analytics. It gives you access to between 50 and 60 different MPS providers and their various different mandates. The one I'm looking at here is our FE Model Portfolio 3, but this is true for any MPS solution you look at. When I'm looking at the performance of an MPS solution built within analytics, yes, the performance is always going to be net of fund charge, as indeed it is with every other fund, but equally it's also net of the DFM fee. There's usually a discretionary management charge levied on top of the fund charge, charged by the provider themselves, in this case us, FE Investments. And you can be rest assured as a user of analytics, when I'm looking at the performance of an MPS solution, the performance figures are net of fund charges and the underlying DFM charge. So a common question we usually get when we start talking about charges within various different investment solutions is, as an advisor, how do I add an extra layer of charges to account for, say, a platform fee and maybe an advisor charge as well? Now, you can do that with a portfolio. Now, a portfolio can consist of one fund. So if I'm just simply recommending one multi-asset fund to a client, then I can build that inside a portfolio and add the layer of charges on top. And equally, if I'm trying to propose or maybe construct someone's existing portfolio of 10 funds, again, so long as I'm building the portfolio, I can add those additional charges on the portfolio itself. But first and foremost, I've got to build a brand new portfolio. So click on portfolio on the left-hand side and click on new portfolio. Now, for my first scenario, if I just simply wanted to wrap some additional charges onto a one fund solution, again, find that one fund on the left-hand side. So in my case, I'm recommending my client invest in a MyFolio fund. So I'll add that across into my portfolio, assign 100% weighting on the right-hand side. And before I save it, I'll probably save the portfolio as MyFolio Manage 2. If you click on that little portfolio settings tab at the top, it allows you to add in some additional charges. Would you like to add an additional initial charge to account for your advisor fee? And more importantly, an additional annual charge. So my advisor fee might be 0.5%, but equally the platform that I'm looking to place this business on is going to be charging an extra 0.3. So in total, the extra layer of charges I want to include is 0.8. And if I now click on OK and save that as my MyFolio Manage 2 fund, I'll be able to show the performance net of, again, the advisor fee and the platform fee. And the same is true when you build a portfolio of multiple funds. On the left-hand side, if I add 5, 10, 15, 20 funds into my portfolio, assign the weighting to each, and again, overlay that with an additional layer of charges, click on portfolio settings and add the charge, similar to what we did with the last example. And finally, what if I want to add an additional layer to an MPS solution? You'll find in analytics when you open up or edit a model portfolio, you won't be able to adjust the charging. So I'll give you an example. If I come back into my analytics page, I'll go and grab that hard-coded FE model portfolio solution. And I call it hard-coded because I can't adjust anything. I can't change anything. I can't delete the funds. I can't mess around with the dates at the very top here. The system would kick up an error message saying you're not able to make adjustments to a portfolio that's, again, built on the database via the MPS directory. And as you can see, if I try and overlay this with additional charges, you'll see the additional charges of the DFM that we mentioned earlier have already been applied for you, hence why we can be rest assured that when we're looking at performance, the performance will be net of the DFM charge. But if I try to change that to maybe 0.8 to reflect all charges, and then click on the little save icon, I get an error message at the very bottom to say you can't modify this portfolio. So to modify an MPS proposition that, again, is hard-coded onto the database via the MPS directory, if I come back to my portfolio build screen, I need to make a portfolio of portfolios. So at the very bottom down here under my portfolio tab, load up all of your portfolios, find the portfolio that you want to add it across, assign with 100% weighting, and then again, just hit the portfolio settings tab, and in exactly the same way that we built a portfolio of the MyFolio fund, you're building a portfolio of the FE model portfolio 3 in which you can overlay additional charges. And don't worry, if the underlying fund portfolio itself, i.e. the FE model, makes changes thereafter, it will automatically reflect within the portfolio that you've built. So there are lots of different applications you can use that for, not just to show accurate performance, but you might want to show the performance of the FTSE 100 with additional charges. You might want to show the average performance of a mixed investment fund using a sector with an additional layer of charge. And in that case, it's exactly the same as what we did with the funds. I build a portfolio, add the FTSE 100 to it, overlay the additional charges, and now I've got a portfolio on the system of the FTSE 100 with that additional layer of charge. I might also want to compare a portfolio with advisor charge and without, or indeed I might want to compare a portfolio with 0.5% charge against the same portfolio with a 1% charge. Again, lots of different ways you can use that feature. So I hope you found that tutorial useful. As ever, if you need any help on this, you've got our live chat facility on the bottom right hand corner. On the left hand side, you've got Contact Us that will provide you with the details to the help desk, and also training and guides that will give you links to all the different guides we've set up for every feature on the system, and also the ability to schedule a training session with our training team, and also to book yourself in with an analytics exam.